We've got breaking news, a shooting outside a local shopping mall. What we've learned about the injuries, and right now the shooter is still on the loose. Warren police rescue a child that touched a live wire brought down by last night's storms. DTE has a message for all parents. Paula.
Through shared loss and a search for healing, a math teacher and a student team up to write and illustrate a book to help children grieve.
Quite emotional,
I'll show you how the process is helping the author learn to grieve too.
Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
And that breaking news is from Southland Mall in Taylor. Police tell us one person is injured and the shooter is on the loose right now. Multiple shots were fired in the parking lot outside of Forever 21 and LensCrafters. Investigators say there was an argument between two groups of people. It's not clear exactly what that fight was about. The victim was hit in the shoulder and is at a nearby hospital right now. The mall was not locked down. Police don't believe there is any danger to the public. We will update the search for the shooter in a live report when you join us tonight at 5. Also first at 4, if your power's on and your neighborhood does not look like this, consider yourself really lucky. Thousands of people are being impacted by storm damage, sometimes with dangerous and deadly consequences. Sky 4 has been over some of the hardest hit spots. Starting on the left, we are getting another look at fallen trees all over Richmond. In the middle, similar scenes from Rochester Hills. And on the left, you can see the scene where police say an 8-year-old boy touched a live wire in Warren. Last night's storm brought down that power line across the street from McKinley Elementary School. The school was closed, but police say the grandmother of 2 boys dropped the kids off. They were walking around as they tried to reach her to come get them. And that's when police say the 8-year-old touched that live power line carrying 4,800 volts. Police happened to be in the area, saw the situation, rushed to help those children, and then drove them to the hospital. The younger child has serious burns. DTE just offered a reminder on safety, and the company's president says the company is thinking about the children who've been impacted.
These are the worst days you could possibly have in our business. Our job now is to make sure we keep everybody else safe. Make sure you talk to your children about staying away from wire downs. A good rule of thumb is think about a school bus. Stay as far away from a wire down as a school bus. Call us, send us a text message, and we will come out and take care of it.
The 8-year-old is in critical condition at Children's Hospital in Detroit. We'll have a live update on his condition and the investigation surrounding the accident when you join us at 5. Meantime, a 14-year-old girl in Monroe died after she reached for what she thought was a stick, but was really a charged electrical line. DTE says it's working to secure 3,300 downed power lines, and everyone needs to stay at least 20 feet away from those lines. More than 260,000 DTE customers are still without power. 80% should be restored by the end of the day Thursday. Plus, there are boil water advisories for Walled Lake, Commerce Township, and Novi because of a power outage at Great Lakes Water Authority Station. Residents should boil water for drinking and cooking. All right, let's get back to the city of Richmond. We're seeing so many trees tossed around, with many landing on houses and businesses. It's the aftermath of a scary night for thousands of people. Rod Maloney has been in the area since early this morning. Rod, what have people been telling you about the past 24 hours?
Well, what they're saying is that about 6:30 last night, things went from, very calm and quiet to serious problems. Now, take a look behind me. You see the tree here. As you look down in the back, you can see trees that are split about halfway up. Now, that's the scene all across Richmond, and we're going to show you now our Drone 4 video. Mike Arcelisi, our buddy running the drone, went into downtown Richmond, and you can see the swath of damage. That's a mattress store. It's actually a mattress warehouse that had its roof torn off. And then as you look past that, you see a number of houses have trees on the roofs. They also have power poles that are tilted on their side, wires down everywhere. The tree services have been exceptionally busy all day here. And what we keep hearing from people is that they think here on the ground it's a tornado. But we called the National Weather Service this afternoon. They're calling it a gust-nado. Now, if you've never heard of that, and I hadn't, it's instead of the tornado going around in a circle up in the air, it's actually on the ground where it does a circular motion. And this is, one of those things that the National Weather Service says actually does happen. They think it's more straight line winds, but that gust-nado could have been an issue. Let's hear from what the residents and what they were saying about what they saw last night.
My one grandson said, "Pop, what are we going to do? The lights are gone off." And I knew something was coming on because of the way the wind was shifting and the front door closed on its own.
You can see its path. I mean, like, you look at that side, it's amazing, the damage. And then if you drive down Main Street and stuff, I mean, people's planters are still intact. And then there's this path of just destruction.
Do you think it was a tornado out here?
It was circular. I don't know what it was, but it was strong and circular. There was stuff blowing around it. This tree was right here. That's an 8-foot wide tree that twisted and snapped.
So to give you the better explanation of the gustnado, what they're saying is that it's circular motion on the ground and not up in the air. So that's kind of what we were hearing from the people. And if you take a look at this house behind me here, a rather interesting story that we'll let you in on coming up on Local 4 News at 5. Reporting live in Richmond, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
All right. Thank you, Rod. We'll see you at 5. Well, in the first forecast, we are in much better shape today, but some of you could get caught under some spotty showers. Meteorologist Brett Collar is in for Kim Adams. Brett.
Yeah, we're tracking just a couple of these very spotty showers of little consequence, but there are still a couple out there as advertised. Exact Track 4D radar, most of us are dry, but throughout the past couple of hours, there's been a couple of these drips and drops dotting the map. One here in Troy that's weakening, also south of Harper Woods, moving off to the east. That's about it. The next couple of hours, there will be one or two more of those. But following that, we're looking ahead to what should be a couple of very nice days ahead. A lot of us are seeing something like this, kind of a partly to mostly cloudy sky. But as you head further west, we're actually seeing some more sun, like here in Ann Arbor, with the exception of a couple of clouds passing overhead. Upper 70s, low 80s right now, falling into the 60s and even some 50s overnight tonight. We'll talk about the next chance for rain, which will impact parts of your weekend, coming up here in just a bit.
All right. Thank you, Brett. President Joe Biden is talking up his plans for crime prevention in a key battleground for the midterm election. The president wants more progress on gun control. The president is pushing to restore a ban on assault-style weapons. He spoke a short time ago in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. There are heated races for both governor and senator in that state. Republicans have been trying to paint Democrats as weak on crime. The president also spent time rejecting the idea of defunding the police.
When it comes to public safety in this nation, the answer is not defund the police, it's fund the police. Fund the police.
Well, the president will travel to Pennsylvania 2 more times in the next week, underscoring the importance of the state this coming November. So here in Michigan, COVID cases are down slightly from last week's update. The state reporting more than 19,000 new cases over the past 7 days. That breaks down to an average of about 2,700 per day. We lost another 129 lives. This week, a CDC panel is expected to vote on whether to authorize updated COVID booster designed to protect against the original strain and the Omicron variant. Tonight at 6:30, Nightly News takes us inside Pfizer's Kalamazoo plant for a look at how the company is getting ready for that next step. Well, dealing with the COVID pandemic and community violence has created so much grief for so many young people. We found out about an important collaboration between a Detroit teacher and a student. Paula Tutman shows us how the words of a teacher and the illustrations of a young student aim to heal.
Good morning. I will be walking your class into the building today, so please follow me.
The question you may ask yourself when Master's Math and Science teacher Von Seal Campbell reads from her book, Mrs. Periwinkle, The Purple in My Rainbow, is, who's being healed, the author or the students? The answer is both.
She paused, took a deep breath, and said, your teacher, Miss Periwinkle, died yesterday.
During the start of the COVID pandemic, Mrs. Campbell started a project to keep students connected and comforted. She read 100 bedtime stories virtually. But last year, in the first days, the Detroit Public Schools Community District returned to in-person learning. Mrs. Campbell found out her friend and teaching partner, Candace Tarter, passed away. Heartbroken, she looked into the faces of her students and realized they were heartbroken too.
Her desk was set up, all her belongings were set up, all her posters around the room with her handwriting on them. It hurt, it hurt. And I mean, I still cry.
She started to write to heal her heart and then realized her story was a story that could help children. And so she turned to 15-year-old Danielle Cade Evans, a student at Renaissance High School, to illustrate her words. The illustrations are powerful and dynamic as a child's aesthetic speaks to other children.
I was thinking about how I would react. So a facial expression I would make when I hear that somebody I knew for a long time passed away. And that's how I ended up coming up with like the expressions of the children.
The book is now published and on sale on Amazon, and Mrs. Campbell has done the calculus. Children learn through experiences. Stories can touch their hearts.
We lost a lot of people through COVID. Students lost not just teachers, they lost moms, dads, cousins, relatives, friends, and everybody. And a lot of our kids just, they struggle to deal with loss. But they too need some strategies to actually talk about how they're feeling.
Mrs. Campbell says that the book is realistic fiction, and I mean, it's a pretty quick and easy read, plain language, real talk, but also, Karen, how about kudos for turning pain into action, but also allowing a young student to become a published author as well. Karen?
So very important for that student with their self-confidence, and then obviously the story in and of itself so important for everyone. Paula, we appreciate you sharing with us today.